Hi everyone, welcome to week 25 P6 worksheet revision. So if you are my student, I hope you will watch this recording before you go for lesson and after you come back from lessons. This way you will have done this paper 3 times and the concepts will be well ingrained into your brains. If you don't have the worksheet with you, please pause the video after I read the question and try to do the questions yourself. Only this way you will understand what kind of mistakes you will make, and you will try to avoid these type of mistakes during exams. So without further ado, let's get started. So for question 1, find the value of 28 plus 4 times 6 minus 32 divided by 4. So rule of thumb is that you will always do multiplication and division first before you go and proceed with addition and subtraction. So in this case, we will do this and this first. So what is 4 times 6? Your right is 24. And what is 32 divided by 4? Your right is 8. Okay, so now we'll fill in the rest of the numbers. So we'll bring up the 28 plus this equates to 24 minus this equates to 8. So now we'll simplify this further. What is 28 plus 24? Your right is 52. We'll keep the minus 8. We'll do it step by step. So now it's 52 minus 8. Your right is 44. And hence this gives us option 3. Now we'll move on to question 2. Which one of the following has the same value as 5.108 kg? So for this, we'll go through each option one by one and see whether they equate to 5.108 kg. So for 4 kg plus 180 gram, how do you convert it to kg? So this is already in kg, we can keep it. We just have to convert the gram to kg. Before you convert, you have to understand that 1 kg is equivalent to 1000 gram. So to convert from kg to gram, you times 1000. But to do it the other way around, gram to kg, you have to do reverse. So you reverse engineer the whole thing. You divide it by 1000 instead. So what's 180 divided by 1000? It's just 180. For division, you will always move the decimal point to your left. So since there are 3 zeros, you move it back by 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So now decimal point become here. Put a 0 here, it becomes 0.180. So 4 kg plus 180 gram is 4 kg plus 0.180 kg, which will give you 4.18 kg. I'll just erase. I'll move this part. So is it what we want? No. So option 1 is wrong. Next, we'll move on with option 2. Option 2 is 3 kg plus 2108 gram. So we'll keep the 3 kg and we'll convert the 2108 gram to kg. So to convert it to kg, divide it by 1000. So we just have to move the decimal point back by 3 times as there are 3 zeros. So decimal point starts from here, move it back 3 times. So you'll get 2.108. So 2108 gram is equivalent to 2.108 kg. And when you add them up, you'll get 5.108 kg. Is this what you want? Yep, this is actually what you want. So answer is actually option 2. So you can continue for option 3 and option 4. You realize that you won't equate it to 5.108 kg. In fact, this will equate to 5.080 kg, and this will equate to 5.180 kg. So you can check your answer against mine. So that's option 2 for you. Next, question 3. Find the value of 2 times 10b minus 9b divided by 3 when b equals to 6. Okay, so same thing. Rule of thumb is times and divide first, followed by plus and minus. So we will do this part first and this part first before we think about anything else. So what is 2 times 10b, right? I understand that algebra is only learned in the later part of the year. So it might be a bit difficult for you guys to understand algebra. So one trick is that you can always treat the letters as units. So just treat it as 2 times 10 units minus 9 units divided by 3. So what is 2 times 10 units? Means you got 20 units, right? What is 9 units divided by 3? Means you are left with 3 units. So in the end, you get 17 units. But in this case, remember that we replace B with units. So you replace units back with B, you get 17B. So now what is 17B? They tell you that B is equals to 6. So you just have to sub in B equals to 6. Replace B with 6. So it's just 17 times 6. Since you have no calculator, you have to do it manually. So you should get 102. Okay, why is 17B 17 times 6, right? 17B is equals to 17 times B. It's not 17 minus B, it's not 17 plus B, it's not 17 divided by B. Always remember that 17B is 17 times B. So now they tell you B is equals to 6. Just replace the B with 6, so it just be 17 times 6, which gives you 102. I hope this is clear. Of course, if you are very good with algebra, you don't need to replace B with units. So basically, all these units can just be B. You can just put it as B. There's no need for you to replace it with units. So it just be B, B, B. So end up you'll still get 17B. Next, question 4. I hope everything so far so good. So question 4. The figure below is not drawn to scale. Remember, it's not drawn to scale. Please don't take out your protractor and start measuring the angles, because you won't get the correct answer because they are not drawn to scale. You have to use your concepts. Next, AB and CD are straight lines. So you want to highlight the straight lines. AB and CD are straight lines. AOE is 65 degrees, COB is 110 degree, and they ask you to find this angle over here. So for angle question, right, there are only like 6 properties that you need to think of. So angles question are relatively easier, because if you can recall all the properties, you'll be able to do the questions. So I will recap all the properties of angles you need to know. First one is adjacent angles on a straight line. So all the angles on a straight line will add up to 180. Next, vertically opposite angle. So you have 2 straight lines. The angles opposite it will be the same. So angle B is equals to angle B. Angle C is equals to angle D. Next, angles at a point. So angles at a point will add up to 360. Next, alternate angle. So usually for this, you look out for the Z. This is the Z you are looking out for. Basically, there are 2 parallel lines, and that's why you get this Z shape. So alternate angles just means that the angles inside the Z are equivalent to each other, which means that angle A is equivalent to angle B. Next, we have our corresponding angle. So same thing, if you have 2 parallel lines, these 2 angles are the same. Last but not least, we have these interior angles. So same thing, if you have 2 parallel lines, the angles between the parallel lines will add up to 180 degrees. And the property is called interior angles. Okay, so once we got that cleared, now we can move on to this question. So can you kind of guess which property we need to use? Yes, you are right. We need to use vertically opposite angle, which states that this angle is equals to this angle, which means that this angle is 110 degree. So how do you find the question mark? You just simply take 110 degree minus 65 degree, which should give you 55 degree. And hence answer is option 3. Next we have a trapezium. What's so special about trapezium is that only these 2 are parallel to each other. These 2 are not parallel to each other, so please remember that. Okay, so For this, can you recall which property we need to use? So two parallel lines, right? So we can either use option 4, option 5, or option 6. And in this case, we should use option 6. This guy over here. Which states that for interior angle, this plus this will add up to 180. Similarly, this plus this will add up to 180 degrees. So we just have to find an option that matches that. And that option will be option 2. So angle BAD, this angle, plus ADC add up to 180 degrees. So that's option 2. The rest will be wrong. Question 6. How many faces does the solid below have? So for this, you have the side faces and you have the front and back. So front, you have one face. Back, you have one face. What about the sides? How many faces do you have at the side? So you just have to look at the number of sides. Here got one side, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a total of 6 sides, which means that the total is just 1 plus 1 plus 6, which is 8. So answer is option 3. Next, what is the reading indicator on the weighing scale below? So before you can find out what's the reading, right, you have to find out what one interval is. So how do you find one interval? You see these are longer lines, right? Means this is the halfway mark. So what's the halfway mark of 20 and 25 is 22.5. How do I get this number? I simply took 20 plus 25, which is 45. Then I divide it by 2. Because it's the midway point. So that's 22.5. Then what about each individual interval, right? So I'll just highlight. So from 20 to 25, there are 5 intervals. 1, 2, 3. I'll decrease my pen size. 4, 5. There are 5 intervals. 5 intervals give you 22.5 minus 20, which is 2.5 kg. So you want to find out what one interval is. So one interval is just 2.5 divided by 5, which will give you 0.5 kg. So now you find out what's one interval already. You have to find out what you want, which is this point. One interval is 0.5 kg, so this one will be 20.5 kg. Here will be 21 kg. And what you want will be 21.5 kg. So answer will be option 3. Next, we have a ratio question. A is to B is 1 is to 3, and B is to C is 2 is to 5, and they ask you what is A is to C. So A is to B is to C. You just have to write them down. A is to B is 1 is to 3, as shown here. B is to C is 2 is to 5, as shown here. So do you notice something with B? B cannot be 3 and 2 at the same time, right? Like you can only be one thing at one time. You can't be 2 things at the same time. So we have to make B the same. And the lowest common multiple is actually 6. So to find the lowest common multiple, you can just list out all the multiples. And you realize that the lowest common multiple is actually 6. So we have to make B to be 6. So here, the whole row will times 2. For the second row, the whole row I will multiply it by 3. So what is 1 times 2? You get 2. What is 3 times 2? You get 6. So for second row, 2 times 3 will also give you 6. But now what is 5 times 3? You're right, it gives you 15. So now we have the full ratio. Now we just have to extract out A is to C. So A is to C. So you can see that it's actually 2 is to 15. And hence the answer is 2 is to 15. And that gives us option 3. Next up, 60% of a number is 30. The number is So for paper 1, there's no calculator involved. No one has calculator. So whenever you see percentage, you want to try to work with fractions instead, because it is very hard to work with percent. It's actually easier to work with fractions. So what's 60%? 60% is actually 60 over 100. So to remove the percent sign, you just divide it by 100. So now this is better, right? So now what we want to do next is we want to simplify this fraction to get a number as small as possible so that the numbers are easier to work with. So what's 60 over 100? When you simplify it, firstly you can divide the 0, cancel out the 0. Next, both can be divisible by 2. So you get 3 over 5. So very good. So now you replace 60% with 3 over 5. So 3 will belong to who? 3 will belong to the 30. 5 will belong to the number of something, right? So this one will always be your denominator. So the number is 5 units and 30 is 3 units. So 3 unit is 30. 1 unit will just be 30 divided by 3, gives you 10. So what you want to do is you want to find out what 5 unit is, because the number is 5 units. So 5 unit will just be 10 times 5, which gives you 50. And hence answer is option 3. Next, a Formula 1 sports car can travel 300 km per hour. How many meters can the car travel in 15 minutes? Okay, before we start working on this question, I want you to notice the units. For this, it says kilometer per hour, while this says minutes. So for the time, right, hour and minutes, they are different units. So we want to convert them to the same units. So 300 km per hour is actually equivalent to 300 km per 60 minutes. How do you read the speed, right? 300 km per hour just means that in 1 hour, the car can travel 300 km. And 1 hour is equals to 60 minutes. So in 60 minutes, the car can travel 300 km. So we want to convert hours to minutes. So we want to find out the speed in terms of kilometer per minute. So we just have to find out how much distance can the car travel in 1 minute. So in 1 minute, the car can travel 300 divided by 60. So you can cancel the 0. So what's 30 divided by 6? You're right, it is 5. So in 1 minute, the car can travel 5 km. And hence the speed is just 5 km per minute. Okay, now, very good. Now we have the same units, right? Now we can think of this triangle called DST. So you know GST, right? Goods and Services Tax. But for distance, speed, time, we have this triangle called DST, which simply states for distance, speed, time. So how this triangle works is that if you take the bottom two, you multiply them, you'll get the distance. Similarly, if you want to get the smaller part, you'll take the bigger part, the one at the top, divided by the one at the bottom. So to get speed, you'll just take distance divided by time. Okay, so in this case, speed, we found out earlier, is 5 km per minute. So just write here 5 km per minute. And for the time, we want the car to travel 15 minutes, right? So time is 15 minutes. So now they ask you how many meters can the car travel in 15 minutes. So we got the speed, we got the time, now we just have to find the distance. So if you take the speed, multiply by the time, you can get the distance. So in this case, it will just be 5 times 15, which will give you 75 km. But the options are all in meter, so you just have to convert 75 km to meter. And how do you do that? Is you have to remember this conversion. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meter, which means that to convert from kilometer to meter, multiply it by 1,000. The opposite will just be the reverse, so you divide it by 1,000. But in this case, we are converting from kilometer to meter, so we have to multiply it by 1,000. So we just have to add 3 zeros at the back, and answer will be option 4. It's a very lengthy question for a MCQ. Next, we'll move on to question 11. The figure below is made out of two semicircles. This is important. It's semicircle, it's not a full circle. Find the parameter of the figure. Okay, so to do this question, we have to add up all the sides because that's what parameter means. So there are 4 sides to this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Okay. So 4 sides to it. 1 and 3 are already known. We just have to find out what 2 and 4 are. In order to find out 2 and 4, you have to recall your circumference formula. What's the formula of a circumference of a circle? It's just pi d. D stands for diameter here, and the question asks you to take pi to be 3.14. Okay, so to find 2, you have to understand that 2 is a semicircle. And to find 4, 4 is also a semicircle. So we'll do 4 first because it's easier. So to find option 4, right, we have to take half of the circumference because like I said earlier, it's a semicircle. So it'll be half pi d instead. So in this case, half times 3.14. As stated in the question, pi is 3.14. Diameter in this case is 40. So I understand that for paper 1, you can't use a calculator. So we'll try to simplify things. So both 2 and 40 are divisible by 2. So we'll cancel it. 2 divided by 2 gives you 1. 40 divided by 2 gives you 20. So this gives you 3.14 times 20. You can split the 20 into 2 times 10. They are the same thing. So now we can, to bring in the 10, we'll just move the decimal point to the right by 1 time because there's only 1 0. So if you move it here, you get 31.4 times 2. So now this is much more easier, right? So what's 31.4 times 2? Decimal point will be kept because you are multiplying it by 1 digit number. So here will be 8. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So you get 62.8. Now you have to find out what 4 is. Now you have to find out what 2 is. To find 2, you have to find out what the diameter is first. So what is the diameter? The diameter is here, right? So diameter is 40 minus 10 minus 10. And that should give you 20. So it will be half, same formula, pi d, which is half times 3.14, because pi is taken to be 3.14 in this question, times d. D is diameter, and this in this case is 20. So simplify things, both are divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 gives you 1. 20 divided by 2 gives you 10. So this is equals to 3.14 times 10. And to bring in the times 10 inside, there's 1 0 here. So shift your decimal point to the right 1 time. You get 31.4. So now we got all 4 sides. We just have to add up all the sides. So parameter is just the first side plus the second side plus the third side plus the fourth side. So first, so erase things to, I'll erase it to make the diagram less confusing. So first side is 10 cm. So 10 cm. Second side is 31.4. Second side is here. Third side is 10 cm. Fourth side is here. And we have come to the conclusion is 62.8. So we just add things up. You should get 114.2 in the end. And that gives you option 2. Very good. So now we'll move on to question 12. A piece of wire was bent to form the following figure. In the figure, there are 4 circles and the line AB. 4 cm of the wire was left over. Find the length of the wire. So you have a wire. You bend it to form these 4 circles. Then you have a remainder of 4 cm. So this 4 cm very important because you have to add it in the end to find the length of the wire you had initially. Okay, so this question is a bit tricky because, well, you have 4 circles and you have to try to find the circumference of it. So this is the circumference, right? So for this question, you must understand that this will be equivalent, the circumference of all these 4 circles added up is equivalent to this one big circle, where the circumference, where the diameter is equivalent to the diameter of the 4 circles added up, the 4 smaller circles added up. So you can have much smaller circle. The circumference of all the small circles will still add up to the circumference of this one big circle, as long as the diameter match up. So you must go and see whether the diameter match up. So in this case, we just have to find out this big circle, right? The circumference of this big circle, right? So the formula from earlier, we have already made it known that circumference is just pi times d. So in this case, diameter is 28. Pi in this case is not 3.14 anymore. They want the pi to be 22/7. So times is 28. So you can simplify things. Okay, so bracket just means multiplication. If it's confusing, I will just change it to times 28. So now you can simplify things. Both are divisible by 7. So 7 divided by 7 give you 1. 28 divided by 7 give you 4. So now you have 22/1 times 4, which is 22 times 4. That gives you 88. And hence the answer is not 88 because don't forget the 4 cm you were left over with. So just take 88 plus a 4, which is 92. So answer is option 2. Okay, so when I was a student, I also have like this mistake of like not using all the numbers. So usually what I do is I highlight all the numbers. Then when I check my working, what I want to do is that I want to find out whether I have used up all the numbers. Obviously, not all numbers have to be used up, but go and find out whether you miss out certain numbers that you didn't use. Now we have question 13. We'll move on to question 13. Sorry, I'll just erase this part. Mrs. Lee bought 3 kg of flour. She used 900 grams of it. What fraction of the flour had she left? So first thing, units are different. You have to try to make it the same. So 1 kg is 1000 grams. So to convert from kg to gram, you times 1000. The reverse will be divided by 1000. So 3 kg is just 3 times 1000, which is 3000 grams. Okay, so now they are asking for a fraction that was left. So the fraction, the numerator will be what's left, and the denominator should be what is the total. So how much was left? She bought 3000, she used up 900. So she's only left with 3000 minus 900 grams, right? And total will be 3000. So if you simplify things, you should get 2100 over 3000. Cancel the 0. You get 21/30. Both are divisible by 3. So you should get 7/10. And hence the answer is option 4. Next, the ratio of Kimberly's mass to Jane's mass is 5:6. If Kimberly's mass is increased by 7 kg and Jane's mass is decreased by 1 kg, it will be of the same mass. What is Kimberly's mass? So you have Kimberly, you have Jane. Started off with 5 units is to 6 units. If Kimberly's mass increased, so you plus 7. And Jane's mass decreased by 1, so do you plus or minus? Decrease means less, right? Less means you minus, right? So minus 1. And they end up with the same mass. So if you look at this, you can convert it into a mathematical equation. So 5 units plus 7, they will end up equals to 6 units minus 1 because they end up to be the same mass. So now we just have to manipulate the equation such that all units are on one side and all the constants are on the other side. So I'll try to shift the units over to the right hand side. I'll shift the constant to the left hand side. So to shift things over, right? To shift 5 units over, since this is plus, when you shift over, it should be the opposite of it. The sign should be opposite. So you'll be minus. So right hand side will be 6 unit minus 5 unit. For the constant, since here is minus, so when you shift over, it should become plus. So it'll be 7 plus 1. 7 plus 1 is 8. 6 unit minus 5 unit is 1 unit. So now we understand that 1 unit is 8. And what was Kimberly's mass? Kimberly's mass was 5 unit. So we just have to find out what 5 unit is. 8 times 5 equals to 40. Answer is option 1. Then some of you guys might be wondering, later on, Kimberly also gained 7 kg, right? But this was a hypothetical scenario. It says if Kimberly's mass is increased by 7 kg. But Kimberly didn't increase by 7 kg. Her mass is actually just 5 units, which is equivalent to 40 kg. And hence answer is option 1. So this question might take some time for you to digest. So do feel free to repeat what I say or repeat this questions recording so that you can understand it better. And if you do have any questions, you can leave it down in the comment section. I'll try to reply to it. Next, a shopkeeper buys his goods at a certain price. He usually sells them at 30% above the price he bought it for. During a sale, he gave a $15 discount off the selling price. If he received $128, what was the original price of the goods? So this one we have to reverse everything that he did to find out what was the original price. So original price will always be 100%. So when he sell them 30% above the original price, he was selling it at 130% of the original price. How I get 130%? Above means more, right? So I just take 100% plus 30%. It gives you 130%. Then during a sale, he gave a $15 off the selling price. So selling price was 130%. After that, he gave a discount, $15 discount. Means the person have to pay less. So after that, the person pay $15 less. And how much did the person pay? The person paid $128 in the end. So to reverse everything, since here you minus, to reverse you plus 15. So that should give you 143. 143 was the selling price, which was 130% of the original price. So 130% was $143. So what you want to do is you want to find out what 100% is. So to find out what 100% is, since you don't have a calculator, you just want to divide it by 13. So you want to find out what 10% is. So from here to here, you divide it by 13. From here to here, you divide it by 13. So what's 143 divided by 13? So here will be 1 minus 13. You get back 13. Put another 1 minus 13, 0. So 10% is $11. To find 100%, you simply times 10, both sides. Sorry, there's no percent sign here. So it'll just be 11 times 10. It should give you 110. And hence answer is option 4. I'm sorry it got a bit messy right here. I'll try to make my workings less messy from here. Next, we'll move on to this question. Write 2,000s, 260 tens, 16 tens, and 150 thousands in numerals. Okay, so 1,000 is 1,000, right? I mean, 1,000 has 3 zeros, which means that 2,000 is just 2 with 3 zeros at the back. 10 means 1 0 at the back, so just add 1 0 at the back. Means 260 tens is 2,600. This is a bit tricky here. This is 10 with a TH. 10 with a TH means 1 over something. TH just means 1 over something. And in this case, it's 10. So 1 over 10. Which means 60 10 is 16 times 1 over 10. Which is 16 over 10. Which is 16 divided by 10. So divide means you move the decimal point to the left. So if you move the decimal point to the left one time, because there's only 1 0, you get 1.6. Next, you have 1000 in the TH also. TH just means 1 over something. And in this case, the something is 1000. So 150,000 just means 150 times 1 over 1000, which is equals to 150 times 1000. So you can cancel a 0. So it becomes 15 divided by 100. So like I said, divide means you move the decimal point to the left. And since there are 2 zeros, you move it to the left 2 times. So now the decimal point will be here. Fill in the 0 is 0.15. So now you just have to add things up. 2000 plus 260 tens plus 60 tens, which is 1.6, plus 150,000, which is 0.15. So you should get 4601.75. Next, two consecutive even numbers add up to 570. Find the bigger number. So there are two criteria. One is consecutive, one is even. What are consecutive numbers? It means something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, blah, blah, blah. This is not consecutive. Something like that is not consecutive. Consecutive means the numbers increase by 1, like this. But now there's a second criteria, which is that the numbers are even. Which means instead of +1, you should +2 instead. So something like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So everything is +2, right? So now they tell you the two numbers add up to 570. So I'll try to draw a model. So we have a smaller number and we have a bigger number. We know that the bigger number will always be larger than the smaller number by 2. So you'll be by 2 because you must +2, right? So smaller number will just be like this. So we just fill it to be 1 unit, 1 unit. And they say add up to 570. So 570 will belong to the side 570. So now you have the model, it makes things easier. The question mark will be here because you want to find a bigger number. So from here, you can find out what 2 unit is by taking 570 minus 2, which is equals to 568. So 1 unit is just 568 divided by 2, which should give you 284. But you don't want to find 1 unit, right? 1 unit is the smaller one, but you want a bigger. Bigger is 1 unit plus 2. So the bigger number is 284 plus 2, which is equals to 286. And that's your answer, 286. Next, a car traveled 32 km at 96 km per hour and another 20 km at 60 km per hour. What was the average speed of the car for the whole journey? So average speed for the whole journey. You have to think of this triangle. DST, which stands for distance, speed, time. So for a whole journey, right, you have to find the total distance and the total time to find the speed for the whole journey. So I will draw this line graph. So for the first part of the journey, he traveled 32 km at 96 km per hour. For second part of the journey, he traveled 20 km at 60 km per hour. So to find the total distance for the whole journey, you can see you just have to add up this and this. 32 plus 20, which is 52. Now we have the total distance, which is 52 km. We have to find out what the total time is, right, in order to find out what was the average speed of the whole journey. So in this case, you weren't given time for the individual parts of the journey. Instead, you're given speed. But since you have the distance and you have the speed, you can find the time, right? The time taken for the first part of the journey and the time taken for the second part of the journey. So how do you make use of this triangle? So distance is 32, speed is 96. So to find out the time taken, just have to take 32, the one at the top, divide by the one at the bottom, divide by 96. This should give you 1/3. Because both are divisible by 32. Divide by 32. Divide by 32. Give you 1/3. Next, the time for the second part. Same logic, DST. So to find out the time, you take the distance. Divide by the speed. So cancel a 0. Both are divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 give you 1. 6 divided by 2 give you 3. So you also have 1/3. So the total time taken for the whole journey was just 1/3 here plus another 1/3, which gives you 2/3 hour. So now you can find the average speed for the whole journey, right? So the speed, just the total distance divided by total time. Total distance traveled was 52. Total time taken was 2/3. So it's 52 divided by 2/3. So division of fraction, remember your acronym, keep, change, flip. Keep the 52. Change the sign to times. Flip 2/3, so it becomes 3/2. So simplify things. Both are divisible by 2. 52 divided by 2 give you 26. 2 divided by 2 give you 1. So now you have 26 times 3. This is paper 1, so you have to work it out yourself. So you get 78 km/h. I would say it's a rather long question and an overkill, but it's what differentiates students. So now we can move on to question 19, our favorite angles question. In the figure below, not drawn to scale, very important, not drawn to scale, please don't take out your projector. AD is a straight line and ABC is 49 degrees. Find angle BCD. Okay, so for this part, if they label these, you have to understand that this sign just means that they are equal, which means that this triangle ABC is a isosceles triangle. So if here is 49, here will also be 49 degrees. Very good. So now we just have to think of the properties of angle. So we'll go back to that page. So what property can we use? We can use the first one over here, right? Adjacent angles on the straight line add up to 180. So if you go back, this is a straight line itself, which means that this angle plus this angle will give you 180. So to find this question mark, which is angle BCD, which is what we want, you just have to take 180 degree minus 49 degree. That should give you 131 degree. Adjacent angles on a straight line add up to 180. So answer is 131 degree. Next, very good. We have another angles question. In the figure below, not drawn to scale, EFGH is a rhombus and angle FEH is 125 degree. Find angle HFG. Okay, what's so special about rhombus, right, is that all sides are the same. It's like a square, but it's a slanted square, but all sides are the same. So you can see there's an isosceles triangle here. Same thing, here is also isosceles triangle. So for this, we have to do it step by step. Firstly, we can label this as 125 degree. Because for rhombus, opposite angles are the same. So you can write this down. Angle HGF is equals to angle HEF, which is 125 degree, using the opposite angle rule. Next up, we'll use the isosceles angle rule. So to find out this angle, which is what we want, HFG, you just have to take 180, because angle sum in the triangle add up to 180, minus 125 degree, whole thing divided by 2. That should give you 27.5 degree. So the two rules that we use are angle sum in the triangle, and we also use isosceles triangle. So angle sum in the triangle is 180. For the isosceles rule, we get to divide it by 2 to find out the individual angle. So answer is 27.5 degree, which means this is 27.5. This is also 27.5. Next, express 10 gram as a ratio of 0.15 kg. So same thing, units are different, we cannot work with them. We have to make sure units are the same. So for this, 1 kg is 1000 gram. So from kg to gram, you times 1000. And the reverse is divided by 1000. So kg to gram, you times 1000. So 0.5 times 1000. Move the decimal point to the right by how many times? 3 times, because there are 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. Decimal point is here. Put a 0, fill in the 0. So it's just 150 gram. So to express it as a ratio, so 10 gram to 150 gram, right? Units are the same, can cancel out. You have 0, can cancel out. So it just equals to 1:15. So answer is 1:15. For this question, you must understand that for ratio, you end up with no units at all because you get to cancel out the units. If you realize that if you have done it while the units are different, you cannot cancel out the units, and that's not a ratio because ratio has no units, which means that what you work with in the first place must already have the same units so that you get to cancel them out. Question 22. Jimmy arranged 26 stickers on each page of his sticker album. If he had 7, 8, 9 stickers in total, how many pages of his sticker album did he use? So each page got 26 stickers. So they already help you group it, right? So each page, 26 stickers. Each page, 26 stickers. You can have many pages. You don't know how many pages, but what you know is that you use up 7, 8, 9 stickers in total. So how many pages did he use? So you just want to find out how many groups of 26 stickers are there. So just take 7, 8, 9, divide by 26. I'll work it out with you. So 7 cannot be divided by 26, put 0. And we have a 78. Numbers are very large. So what you want to do is you want to list out multiples of 26 at the sides. So you just keep adding 26. So this is 52. Keep adding 26. So this will be 78. So just nice, this will be 3 minus 78, 0, 9. So 9 cannot be divided by 26. So put a 0. So you have a remainder of 9. And you have 30 pages. And for this remainder 9, you also have to stick it, right? Because he already used it. So he will stick it on a separate page. But that page only has 9 stickers instead of 26. So total number of pages is 30 plus 1, which is 31. Question 23 we will not do because we don't have the fractions with us. Next up, we'll do question 24. This is very similar to the one we just did earlier, which is question 22. So Jared has 440 marbles. For every 5 marbles he has, there are 6 yellow marbles. How many yellow marbles does he have? So for every 5 green, there will be 6 yellow. Which means we can group this up. Just now it was really good for us, right? So one page is one group. So now this one we have to group ourselves. So each group will always have 5 green and 6 yellow. In total, you don't know how many groups are there, but in total, there will be 440 marbles. So one group, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 marbles, right? We just have to take 440 divided by 11 to find out how many groups are there. So groups means one such circle. So number of groups is just 440 divided by 11. That gives you 14. So you already found out that there's 40 groups. And each group has how many yellow? Each group has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each group has 6 yellow. So to find out the number of yellow marbles, just have to take the number of yellow marbles in one group times the number of groups, which times the total number of groups, which is 40. So that will be 6 times 40, which should give you 240. I hope things are clear. We'll move on to question 25. Okay, so Katie saved 40% less than Diana. Diana saved 60% less than Eileen. Express Katie's savings as a percentage of Eileen's savings. Of someone, so Eileen will be 100%. So now we reverse engineer. So we have Katie, we have Diana, we have Eileen. Eileen is 100%. So Diana saves 60% less than Eileen. So less means the number is smaller. So we will just subtract. Now next is a tricky part. Katie saved 40% less than Diana, which means that Katie only saved 60% of whatever Diana had. So it's 60% of what Diana had. Diana had 40%, so you times 40%. So like I said, this 60% comes from 100% minus this 40%. Because Katie saved 40% less than Diana, which means that Katie saved 60% of whatever Diana has. Okay, so we never learned percentage times percentage, but what we did learn is fraction times fraction. So we just have to express the percentage as a fraction, then everything works out fine. So 60%, I hope remember is 60 over 100. 40% is 40 over 100. So now we can simplify things. 6 divided by 2 gives you 3. 10 divided by 2 gives you 5. 4 divided by 2 gives you 2. 10 divided by 2 gives you 5. So now top times top, 3 times 2, bottom times bottom. So you get 6 over 25. Then you just have to express this as a percentage. So you just have to times 100%. So this can be simplified. 25 divided by 25 gives you 1. 100 divided by 25 gives you 4. So you can also simplify slowly if you can't see that it's divisible by 25. So you can rewrite it. So both are divisible by 5, right? So 25 divided by 5 gives you 5. 100 divided by 5 gives you 20. Then 5 divided by 5 gives you 1. 20 divided by 5 gives you 4. So now you have 6 times 4, which is 24%. And hence the answer is 24%. Next, the mass of a bottle half filled with water is 1.5 kg. Half filled means half. The mass of the bottle when it is 1/6 filled with water is 900 grams. Find the mass of the bottle when it is 2/3 filled with water. So we have 3 fractions right here, but they all have different denominator. So we want to make them the same denominator so that it's easier for us. So what's the lowest common multiple? It's actually 6. So how do I get 6? So this is 2, this is 6, this is 3, right? So you just list out the multiples of 2, multiples of 6, multiples of 3. So 2, 4, 6, 8, something, something, 6, 12, something, something, 3, 6, 9, something, something, something. So you can see that the lowest common multiple is actually 6. So we'll make the denominator to be 6. So to make it 6, here must times 3. Bottom times 3, top also must times 3. Yes, to even things up. This is already 6. For this, 2/3, to make it to be of a denominator 6, you times 2 times 2. So it's 4 over 6. Okay, so now we have all this information. How we draw things out. So this is my bottle. Since denominator is 6, I can split into 6 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have a bottle. I have 6 markings on the bottle. So I know your bottle, you have different markings, right? But now I have 6 different markings on the bottle. So the mass of the bottle, when it is half filled with water, which is 3/6 filled with water, is 1.5 kg. So if the water level is at the 3rd level, right, the mass is 1.5 kg. Then when it is 1/6 filled with water, so when the water level is at the first marking, the mass is actually 900 grams. Okay, so firstly, also after we label all of those, we can also see that the units are different. So let's just convert the units very quickly. 1 kg is 1000 grams. So to convert from kg to gram, we times 1000. The reverse is to divide by 1000. This will use the forward direction. Kg to gram. So 1.5 kg is 1.5 times 1000 grams. So if you times, you just have to move the decimal point to the right. So there's 3 zeros here. You'll move the decimal point to the right by 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Decimal point will be here, fill up the zeros, so it's 1500 gram. So I will just erase things to make things less messy. So 1.5 kg, we define our name is 1500 gram. Okay, so now they want you to find the mass of the bottle when it's 2/3 filled with water. So what happens to the mass when the water level is at the 4th marking? Because 4th out of the 6th marking. So this is the question mark we need to find. So can you see that if we take 1500 gram minus 900 gram, we can find out how much 2,6 water weigh. So 2,6 water actually weighs 1500 minus 900 gram. And that will give you 600 gram. So then we can go and find out what 1/6 water weighs. So it's just 600 divided by 2, which is 300 gram. So for just every water, for every 1/6 water, it weighs 300 gram. Okay, so now we want to find the mass of the bottle when it's 2/3 filled with water. So we want to find out the mass of the bottle plus 4/6 water. So in this case, water must be included. That's something that you have to remember. So if water plus 3/6 gives you 1500, and you want to find 4/6, we just have to take 1500 plus this 300 gram of water, right? Then you can just find water plus 4/6 water. So it's just 1500 plus 300, which equates to 1800 grams. Okay, but the question wants it in kg. So look at the units. So what's 1800 grams in kg, right? So this time we'll use the reverse direction. So from gram to kg, we have to divide it by 1000. So 1800. So 1800 divided by 1000. So to divide it by 1000, we'll move the decimal point to the left-hand side 3 times because there are 3 zeros. And that will give us 1.8 kg. And the answer is 1.8 kg. Next, we have these dice over here. They say the diagram below shows the net of a die. Fill in the missing numbers on the die. Okay, so if you look at this diagram over here, 2 is upright, 3 is upright, which is here, right? 2 and 3. And the one beside 2 is actually 6. So 6 will belong here. And you just have to go and find out what the remaining number is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The only number that's not shown here is 4, which means that the last number is 4. So this is a clear-cut question. Next up, we have an algebra question. 8b times 3 equals to 72. Find the value of b. Okay, so like I said earlier, 8b means 8 times b. It's not 8 minus b, it's not 8 plus b, it's not 8 divided by b. Always remember that 8b is 8 times b. So 8 times b is also b times 8. There's no difference. Which means that b times 8 times 3 is equals to 72. You want to find the value of b, right? So you want to make b the subject. So you want b to be on the left-hand side, everything else on the right-hand side. So you shift this over, you want to shift this over. So when it's here is multiplication. So when you want to shift over, it becomes the opposite. So the opposite of multiply is divide. So you'll take 72 divided by 8, divided by 3. So what's 72 divided by 8? 72 divided by 8 gives you 9. So 9 divided by 3. 9 divided by 3 gives you 3. So answer is 3. Question 29. Mani walks 1000 meter to school every day. The journey takes 40 minutes. What is Mani's walking speed? So this one, we need to think of our DST triangle. Distance, speed, time. We have the distance. Distance here is 1000. We have the time. Time is 40 minutes. So the speed in terms of meter and minutes. So I'll write properly, sorry. Speed in terms of meter and minutes is just 1000 meter divided by 40 minutes. So these things cancel out. 100 divided by 4 is 25. So it's 25 meters per minute. This question is a bit harder because the question wants you to express it as kilometer per hour, which means both meter and minute has to change, and we have to do it step by step. So before we do it, you have to understand what speed means. 25 meters per minute actually means that for every 1 minute, Mani can walk 25 meters. So to express it in hour, 1 hour is 60 minutes. So in 60 minutes, Mani can walk what distance? He can walk 60 times 25, right? So we'll just work the working out. The 0 can just put at the end. Just have to work out 25 times 6. So that's 150. So it's 1500. So from 25 meters per minute, it will be converted to 1500 meters per hour. Because 1 hour, she can travel so much more. With more time, you can travel more. With less time, you travel less because you don't have the time to walk so long. Okay, the last unit we need to convert is meter to kilometer. So what's meter to kilometer? Kilometer to meter is 1 kilometer is 1000 meters, which means that kilometer to meter, you times 1000. The reverse, you divide by 1000. And for this question, we are doing the reverse from meter to kilometer. So we want to divide it by 1000. So to divide it by 1000, you move the decimal point to the left 3 times because there are 3 zeros. So it'll be 1.5 kilometer per hour. So answer is 1.5 kilometer per hour. So there are a few concepts that they tested here. It's not an easy question. Next, in the figure not drawn to scale, please don't take out your protractor. ABD and FG are parallel lines. Angle ACB is 38, angle AFG is 87. Help me find angle CED. So where is C? C is here, E is here, D is here. So the angle is right here. Okay, so let's do it step by step. Okay, so ABD and FG are parallel lines. So where's AB? AB is here, D is here, FG is here. So we can already recall some concept, right? So I'll tell you what property we'll use in this question. We'll need to use 1, adjacent angles on a straight line add up to 180. We'll also be using corresponding angle. This guy over here, option 5. Corresponding angle means this angle and this angle are the same. So we'll go back. So first we'll use the angles on the straight line concept. So this is a straight line. We can go and find out what this angle is because this angle plus this angle add up to 180, which means that to find angle CFG, this one over here, just take 180 minus 87 degree, which should give you 93 degree. Now we can find this angle. This angle over here is CGF. To find CGF, we can use angle sum in a triangle. And angle sum in a triangle always add up to 180. So all the angles in this triangle add up to 180. So we just have to take 188 minus 93 degree. That should give you 49 degrees. Now I will write down the rules. So this is angle sum in a triangle. This angle was adjacent angles on the straight line. Okay, last but not least, we'll use our mighty corresponding rule angle. So if here is 49, here is also 49 because these two lines are actually parallel to each other. Corresponding angle is this one. So when two lines are parallel to each other, these two angles will be the same. So angle CD, which is what we want to find, is equals to angle CGF, which is equals to 49 degrees because of our corresponding angle rule. So that concludes week 25, paper 1. I'll make another video, which is week 25, paper 2. I've decided to split paper 1 and paper 2 so that you can watch what you need more instead of watching the whole video, paper 1 and paper 2, which will be very lengthy and very long. Yeah, so see you guys in class. on Sunday. And I hope this video has managed to help you guys. Bye bye.